All right, we are live here tonight with episode 4 of ARCS Behind the Driver, talking to Connor Knowlton tonight. So stay tuned. We'll have episode 4 here in just a moment. Appreciate y'all coming out. We'll get this episode going here in just a minute. Welcome to ARCS Behind the Driver, episode 4 with Connor Knowlton. Connor, appreciate you coming out, man. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Couldn't be better, honestly.
Awesome. Well, this is the first time that we have met virtually, face to face. Um, I always like to start off, some of the people that I have on this podcast, I know a little bit better. You're one that I don't know as well, and that's what this podcast is all about. So, just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, kind of what you like doing, and um, after you kind of go through that, then tell us how you found ARCS and how you got involved in ARCS competition.
I'm Connor. I'm from Hebron, Connecticut, and I big New England modified guy. Grew up watching NASCAR. I play soccer in my local college, um, and just honestly just spend my days really just kind of playing soccer, watching racing, doing racing, and whatever happens. I did get into ARCS by, funnily enough, my buddy Riley was in your Heat 5 league for a really long time, and he told me, hey, they're doing a short track league for the late model stocks. I know you're looking for a league to run in. And then from there, I got into OST. We did some OST races. I did the Extreme Tour when they did the SKs at Stafford, and then from there, really just kind of evolved into running A squared this season.
Yeah, A squared's uh, it's gonna be huge this year, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Glad to have you there. It, it's so obviously you'll be a rookie this year in A squared. I think you've probably already noticed on the super speedways that there's a lot of people that have known each other for a long time. How do you gain that trust of other drivers when no one really knows you, and that's kind of I was glad to get you on this podcast before the 250 on Sunday because you know I'm one of those people. I'll work with anyone, but there's a lot of people out there that have been in ARCS for almost 4 years now, and there's a lot of allegiance to people that have been here for a long time. How do you gain that trust from those people, coming in as a new rookie for 2024?
It'll be really hard. Honestly, it's not for me. I'm not super concerned about, making allegiances. I've got a really good set of teammates that I can work with that I can always fall back on if I'm ever in trouble. But I think most of that race is really just going to be riding around in the majority, kind of staying in line. I took the clash to kind of see what I couldn't do, what I couldn't get away with. So that was really just kind of, you got 30 laps to be aggressive, make up some spots, and that was really just kind of me feeling out the field, seeing what I could do, see what I couldn't do, and it worked well sometimes. It didn't work out a couple other times, but for the actual race itself, my strategy is going to be a lot different. I'm more going to be concerned about just staying out of pit road as much as possible, whether that be from pitting, getting tires to damage repair. So it's really just going to be about riding around, making up spots where I can, and just being at least in the top 10 by the end of the race. And then from whatever happens, it's really just a free for all from there. So when things start kind of moving around, it's not necessarily going to be me kind of making the move because I am a rookie. And, if I step out of line, I don't know that somebody's going to go with me if I don't have a teammate behind me. But if it comes down to it, all I need to make sure I do is I'm just there at the end, and at least I give myself a fighting shot.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your team that you're racing with this year. Obviously, we had the draft this year, which was it was even bigger than last year, which is something that I'm uh, pretty proud of. I feel like that draft night is just so much fun for all the drivers, all the owners. But tell us a little bit about your team and your owner. Was there any messages that were any DMs that got shot out while the draft was happening? Tell us a little bit about your draft night.
Yeah, well, in like when I had first signed up and I was kind of doing the preseason races, I was like, okay, it's just another league event to do with the cup cars. Cup cars really aren't my thing. It's a new environment, but I saw the build up to the draft and it was actually getting a lot of attention and there was a lot of hype surrounding it. And when I joined the call on Sunday, there was like 30, 40 guys in the call and I was actually like, wow, this is a pretty big deal. So I'm just going through the list and I'm thinking, man, I actually kind of want to get drafted now. This would be huge. And we're kind of going through the first round. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not going to be a first round pick. And I'm thinking maybe I'll get scooped up at the end. Maybe I'll have to race into a race or something. But I got a DM from Tom Sears. He's the owner of Lion Power Motorsport, and he sent me a DM and he goes, "Hey, you like Belgian waffles?" I'm like, yeah, I probably should pay attention to this. I had my monitor up, and I'm like, I'm waiting for somebody to reach out. So he reached out. He goes, "Hey, you like Belgian waffles?" And I go, "Yeah, sure do." He goes, "What's your opinion on birds?"
They're
Um,
not real.
I said, I'm pretty sure that I think I might be meaning something. So we were just bouncing back and forth, and he goes, I'm bouncing between you and another guy. I said, that's fair, but I know I'm a pretty decent short track guy, so yeah, that's always a toss up, but I can hold my own there, and I'm just looking to have a good run. And he goes, all right, let's make it happen. And then we picked up Dan and Ross as well, and we came together. And I think we're gonna have a really strong season. We got a bunch. The four of us are gonna be really solid. We've already got some really good chemistry going, so I'm super excited. I think it's gonna be a really good season for us.
Absolutely, yeah. It's always fun for me. Obviously I'm the person that is behind all this shit. When it comes to it. I mean that you know, I've been doing this for four 4 years now with the
Mhm,
ARCS, and um, that again, that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast. I mean, I've never, some of the people on my podcast schedule I've talked to a lot over. I mean, I had my cousin on here 2 weeks ago. I mean, we've known each other since we were kids. You know, we could talk all night. But then there's other people like, Terry Freer and even yourself. Like, I get into this podcast and I'm thinking like, oh shit, like how the hell am I going to talk to them for an hour? And then it starts and it gets going and it's like, wow, this is awesome. Like
mhm,
this is why I wanted to do this podcast is just, not only so I can, you know, get to know other drivers that maybe are newer or haven't been around for a long time, but other people, can also get to know drivers that they've maybe never seen before. A lot of us, all you hear is a voice. You never see a
mhm.
face. You never, and it's just cool to see, to connect a face to a voice on the racetrack, and that's one of the reasons why I do this. So it's cool to have you on because obviously I've never seen you before. This is the first time we've ever met, even virtually. It's still, it counts, but
Yeah, I think so.
yeah. So it's gonna be a great A squared season, and of course, you'll still be running in OST, and
Mhm.
ARCS has a lot of other stuff available as well. So maybe we can get you in some of those other series too.
Yeah, no, definitely. It just really just depends on my schedule. That's kind of a big reason why I don't run in a few things. Just because like some of those days I don't have the time to. But I think honestly, like ARCS as a community as itself, like I'm obviously in a lot of discords. I've run in a few leagues, but like the tightness of the community and like everybody like there's always participation for races. Like I've seen some Discord announcements recently in other servers like, hey, we're not running this series. There's no participation for it, or yeah, we're struggling to get guys for this race or this week. But like every race that I've done, there's always been guys running in everything. Like there's always really high participation. There's really high competition. Like there's always going to be a battle from first all the way to maybe the last spot in the feature. Even the like an OST, the last chance qualifier always has really good racing. So there's just a bunch of guys. There's always people to run, and there's always like really good people that are running, and it's just honestly it's just a really good community to be in. And no matter what I run, I always enjoy what I do. So really good gig you got going here.
Good deal. Yeah, we we do the best we can. Sometimes some nights it's like that soccer player. Sometimes it may be shit, sometimes it may be
It's
good.
just sometimes maybe good, sometimes
Yeah,
maybe shit. Yeah, yeah. Listen, I've
that's
had
how
those.
ARCS
I've had
is.
those moments. I've had those moments. Like everyone has those moments, especially like bigger picture, like throughout their lives. But especially like in ARCs, like you have, especially in your series, your leagues that you're on, you have really good days and you have some really bad days.
Yeah.
I've had a few bad days myself.
Hey, trust
Had a
me,
couple
but
bad ones.
yeah, we have definitely gone through our bad times here in ARCS, but I feel like we're in a pretty good place now. We're running. I mean, we run Monday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday night. I mean, we're running pretty much 6 nights a week here, and it's all free. I mean,
Hmm.
other than A squared, I guess you could technically say is not free anymore if you didn't get drafted,
Hmm.
but still, you could pay $20 to sponsor a race and you can run the
Hmm.
entire season. Like
Yeah,
that's very
that's a pretty good deal. Yeah.
yeah, it's very unusual for leagues nowadays. I mean, most
Hmm.
leagues are paid series or you
Per
have to
race or.
yeah, pay per race or something like that. So it's something that we've really tried to continue and A Squared has done a really good job this year of raising money. Matthew Kent's been a huge help with helping me out with that and the rule book, but um, I guess just walk us through what as a rookie coming in on Tom Sears' team, which I'm the owner. I'm one of the owners. I'm the president, but Tom Sears is the other owner. So Tom Sears is right there beside me. So what does it mean to race for Tom Sears? Obviously, I know you're kind of new to ARCS, but you know, t- to be on this podcast is a I don't just schedule people in here. I don't just if people say, "Hey, I want to be on the podcast." Like I schedule people because I want to talk to them. So that means a lot. But also being on Tom Sears' team, one of the other owners, what does that mean to you as a rookie coming in and what your expectations are for this year?
Man, that's a really good question. Honestly, like having Tom Sears as your car owner is probably best case scenario for a rookie. Especially considering I don't touch the Cup car like at all. The only Cup races I do are Carb Cup. I'm gonna run the NAS 500. I've done a couple races, but I don't really dabble in the car at all. So, he's a really experienced guy. He takes really good care of us as a team owner. He looks out for us, and he's a really good mentor as to kind of giving me a rundown of like, hey, this is how the series works. This is how this race is gonna go. Like, um, don't put yourself in a bad situation. Like, hey, I put myself in this situation, or I've seen this happen and it hasn't worked out, or vice versa. Like, hey, if you do this, if you go low, if you follow this guy, you're gonna get somewhere. Um, and it's honestly like the best place to be for a rookie because it's especially in that first season you kind of have expectations of like, well, I want to do well, but like you're also a rookie. So for me it's really just about finding my feet, kind of making friends, try not to do too many stupid things, but just kind of get my feet wet and just kind of run consistently. Really, that's honestly a big thing that I've always wanted to work on, especially like in racing in general. Is really just kind of nail consistency. I know that I may not have the speed to win every week, but if I'm up there fighting for top fives, top tens, maybe by the end of the season when we get towards the playoffs, maybe I won't have a win, but I'll be able to point my way into the playoffs, and that'd be a huge deal for me as a rookie coming in and making the playoffs, maybe even going on a run there. So, yeah, I mean, with Tom as an owner, he's so helpful, and he's going to be really a really good mentor, along with the guys he picked up to help me out. So I'm probably in one of the best situations out of all the rookies to really go and fight for some wins, fight for some top fives, and maybe even make a chance at the playoffs.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, it all starts Sunday at Daytona. What do you think your chances are? I know I'm starting back in 36, so
I'm right
I'm
next to you. I think I'm
yeah.
34th. I think I might be in front of you. 34th probably. Yeah, no, the clash did not go too well for me, but I kind of expected that. I really wanted to just kind of see what I could do. Um, and now I know what I can't do, what I won't get away with in the race. Um, but really, my expectation for that race is just to survive. That's kind of the name of the game with those super speedway races because it's really a lottery. You could be doing everything right, be in the right place at the right time, and coming down to the line, and maybe you get caught up in a wreck. So really anything could happen. So for me, it's just about kind of picking my way through the field really carefully, really methodically, making sure I'm on the right pitch strategy, and just like I said, just being there at the end, because that's really all you can do. I really want to like we do get a faster pair, which is going to be really helpful, especially when you get down to it. And I want to kind of save that for as long as I can because if you use that up in the first 10, 15 laps of the race, your entire plan of goes out the window because now you have to race so much more cautiously. So really, my goal is just to survive and just still have a car with 10 laps to go, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, that's everybody's plan, but Daytona sometimes has different plans for everyone in the race. So, I
It's
mean,
so narrow too.
yeah, this is the first year that A squared will have 40 cars at Daytona. So that's
It'll be
wild.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
So last year we only had, I think we maxed out at 32 drivers last year because we only had um, 8 teams with four drivers each, so it was only 32. We didn't allow any, you know, independent drivers as we call them this year. So, but this year we bumped it up to 9 teams, so that put us at 36. And then we also are allowing independent drivers to qualify, and that gives us a full 40 car field for Daytona. So it's going to be wild. I'm excited, a little bit nervous, but we'll see how it goes Sunday for all 40 people in the
Yeah,
field.
yeah. I'm definitely excited for that. 40 cars is that's nothing to laugh about. Honestly, that's just a testament to how much you guys have grown, just even on a year to year basis. I mean, sometimes leagues and teams and series can't get 10, 15 cars to do a race, but even if like you'll get a big field for maybe the super speedways. But I mean, the fact that you guys are capping out and you said, hey, we have a full 40 car field and anybody could win it. That's honestly incredible, and it's really cool to be a part of that. Um, like especially when I was gridding up for the feature or for the heats. For the clash and even doing qualifying, like the way we had qualifying set up, like I actually had like genuine nerves. I'm like, oh man, this is cool. So it's definitely something to really fun to be a part of. The whole ceremony of it all. And even more so, it's not just oh yeah, we're gonna act like it's a real race, but like you get in it and it's super competitive as well. Like there are guys that are going there that are gonna win that are really good that you have to be at your best to try and beat. So the whole ordeal of it is actually it's so much fun and it's a lot of fun. And I'm really glad that I actually signed up to do it because it's something that I never thought I would ever do. I thought I would just kind of stick to my short track series and just kind of run the SOF nights and maybe run a small short track league. But to be a part of like the whole a 3 4 month long Cup series with 40 guys running at Daytona for for some big money, that's incredible. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep, we got a lot of prizes. Actually, your boss, your team owners paying out $200 for Daytona. 100
It's
goes
two.
to, yeah, he raised it to 200. So $100 goes to the winner, and then $100 goes back to A squared to pay for broadcasting and session fees and stuff like that. So, and I mean, we've raised a pretty good amount of money for this year for payouts for points. We're gonna do a little fun bracket challenge in the summertime months. That'll be fun. It'll be kind of like a basically the top 36 in points get put in a bracket, and then you go head to head with whatever driver. Depending on where you're at in points. If you're first in points, you'll go up against 36th in points all the way um, down. Just like a bracket would work, and that's going to be a lot of fun because you'll be able to not only compete, and try and get good finishes on the track, but then you gotta, worry about okay, well, I'm battling this other person. I gotta beat
Mhm.
them so I can move on in the bracket, and there's a little bit of money involved in the winner of that too. So a lot of prizes this year, something that we really haven't had an A squared other than the A squared Cup trophy, which has been passed from, well, Seth Wansing won it the first 2 years, and then Jeremy Brialt won it the last year, and then now Tommy Reynolds is the holder of that trophy. I don't know if Jeremy ever sent that trophy to him. I need to get with Jeremy and see if he sent it to him because he might be holding on to that thing a little too long.
I'd be like, I don't know, I lost it
Yeah, I
somewhere.
lost it.
I don't know where it is.
I will say that that trophy, it's not made out of metal. It's like plastic, but we've gone to a couple of our ARCS retreats, and that trophy has held so much liquor and alcohol that it started leaking out of the plastic seal at the bottom of it. So yeah, that thing probably smells like booze and sand with as much as we've traveled with it. But
Oh,
hey,
man.
it's a trophy that
Yeah, listen, it gets it done.
yeah,
It gets it done.
it gets you drunk, and hopefully it'll come. ARCS is going to Atlanta this year, or the corporate retreat. So we're all gonna go down there and have a good time, and hopefully Tommy Reynolds can make it, and then maybe Jeremy can finally give Tommy Reynolds the trophy. 2 or 3 months before he has to give it to somebody else.
Well, hopefully, if luck goes his way, he can hold on to it. Well, but
Hmm.
that would be pretty nice to be like, hey, I got it. I don't got to give it up. I can hold on to it for another year.
Yeah. Well, if he was racing, he could, but he chickened out, and he's not racing this year. So
Oh, he's not racing this year, is he?
no, he was
That's
supposed to be a
right.
team owner, and then he pulled out, and then he was gonna be just a regular driver, but then he couldn't commit, so I think he is gonna probably sub for some drivers this year, so you'll probably see him on track a couple times, but nothing full time. So we'll see how that works for him. But
All right.
I think he'll get the itch. I think he'll want to come back, but
You do one race, you're like, man, this is fun.
yeah,
I got to do a couple more.
it's too late now though. Well, he could pay his $20 and he could technically run as an independent, but it's tough to run as an independent this year just because there's so many good teams with so many good drivers that you're kind of at a disadvantage because you're going to be pretty much in a chat by yourself versus
Hmm.
the teams that'll have four drivers and they're talking with each other and
Yeah.
communicating the whole
Yeah,
race.
like
I mean,
yeah, the team chat's like, all right, guys, we're gonna take four here, and you're sitting in a call by yourself, like, are we pitting here? Like,
yeah,
what
yeah,
are we
like
doing? Are
what
we
do we?
staying out? You stay out,
Yeah,
and everybody peels to the
yep.
pit road. You're like, oh, well,
Especially at
there we
super
go.
speedways because they're I
Hmm.
mean you're going to be by yourself and everybody else is going to be doing strategy on when to pit, and you're going to have no idea what's going on. So
Yeah, and you're gonna know like halfway into the lap, like you're up top, and you hear like five guys call it, they're going to pit, and you're like, yeah, well, I've got like no laps left, so
yeah,
I think I think I might be in some trouble here.
exactly. So, but we'll see. We'll see what Reynolds does. I mean, I wanted him to race full time, but he had class. He's getting into well, he's been in college, but just his schedule changed, and you
Hmm.
know, real life
I get
happens.
that.
Yeah,
I
I
get
mean,
that. Yeah.
it does. So, Brendan Fetter Place in the chat says Reynolds is washed. Yeah, I mean, he might be washed, but he's still the A squared Cup champion. So, you know,
That is true. You can't take that away from
yeah, you can't
him.
can't take that away. So, so we'll talk a little bit about OST. That's kind of where I first met you, where you kind of got introduced to ARCS. Um, Tell us a little bit. Obviously, Steven Oberstadt, good buddy of mine. Jack Mulkey, also, me and him have had a history on and off the track. Some good, some bad. But tell us a little bit about OST. I love that series. I mean, that car is just so much fun. I ass in it, but it's still just a lot of fun running out there. Me and Steven Oberstadt, we always have a joke that, and it never fails. When we are on the racetrack, we are always right beside each other. Never fails.
Can't get away from each other.
We cannot get away from each other. It doesn't matter if it's OST, TNT, A squared, SNS on
You're
Saturdays.
just glued to each other, glued at the hip.
We are glued to the hip. But tell us a little bit about OST and what you think about that series.
I think it's fun. I think it's a lot of fun. I love the short track aspect of it. The schedule that we go to is a lot of fun. Steven always has some really good picks for the calendar. We went to Myrtle Beach, went Stafford, Lanier. I missed the Slinger race. And but it's a lot of fun. The only thing is I'm not a huge fan of the late model stock. At times I think sometimes it's a little difficult to kind of set up moves and make passes. Um but I think the people we run with and the places we go and the way it's structured, it kind of balances out, and you can still have really good racing. If you watch back some of the broadcasts, I had mentioned it earlier, but like all the way from like first, second, all the way to the back of the field, there's always people trying to set moves up, make things happen. And there's a little bit of strategy involved as well because Steven gives us a set of tires as well, which is really nice because if the races are a little bit longer, what ends up happening is if you're pushing for 30, 40 laps and there's a caution, now you're kind of in a spot of, well, do I want to give up the track position and pit? Do I stay out and gamble on the tires I got? Did I save enough? Um, so at times it can really be a bit of a chess match, which I enjoy. And I think that's a really good aspect of racing. So it is definitely a really, really fun series, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Steven brings us for a schedule next year.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun for sure. So, obviously, we talked about this. We got to talk about it on the podcast. You're passing the grass that wrecked. I don't even know who. I don't even think I was there
A
that
couple of
night.
it was a couple people.
Yeah,
It was a couple people.
I don't even think I was there that night. Maybe it was best I wasn't there. But tell us about that
So
event.
all right, so funny story. Um, it was at Langley. It was doubleheader night at Langley. And Langley's a very tough track to pass at in general. It's very bottom dominant. The best line is gonna put the two lefts right on that yellow seam. Gives you a lot of grip. And especially when it was nighttime, it was even harder to pass during when we had the race during the day. It was a little bit easier because the cars were slipping a little bit more. But I had gotten spun early in the race. I think I was like second or third. Um, and I was like, I don't want to be back here, man. And I was just trying to make up spots, make something happen, and I was just getting a little aggressive. And it started with me and Steven getting into it a little bit. He gave me a little bit of a shot, and I cleaned him out. And then the pass in the grass was I was stuck behind Dale Markowski for I think 5 or 6 laps, and I was shooting it down to the apron because that's really the best spot to try and make something happen. And if you're not a douche about it, you can kind of get low, hold it, and kind of use them up just a touch to kind of get your right sides on that seam, and you can get good drive off, and you can make it happen. You can make a pass happen. And yeah, I just overshot it and I threw it in really hard and I went through the grass and I wiped him out. I saved it, kept going as a caution, and Dale's just sitting in the infield and he's like, "Hey, I didn't know we could pass through the grass here." um, so that was a failed experiment of a race. In terms of my driving abilities, that was definitely not my finest hour. And yeah, that got me a week vacation. They're like, hey, Myrtle Beach, just don't bother even unloading. Like we're gonna put you in timeout, which is fair. But so we learned our lesson. Don't pass in the grass at Langley. It doesn't work.
Hey, at least you learned your lesson. That's most people don't learn their lesson. They
Yeah,
do stupid shit and then come out the next time and do more stupid shit. So
we're like, hey, no, I swear it's gonna work this time. I promise.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's
was one of the races I wish I would have been at. I've been in the process of moving from. Well, I'm moved. So I moved from Georgia to Michigan and then moved from
Georgia to
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I lived in Georgia, came to Michigan. Um, with Kinsey, which you don't probably know Kinsey because you didn't run with us in Heat 5, but she has raced with us before. Her rig is actually right here beside me.
Mhm.
It's still in pieces, but we I moved from Georgia to Michigan with her, and then we were in another place, and now we moved to another place in Michigan. So yeah, there's been a
You're
lot of
just all over the place.
yeah, a lot of moving for me. It's been crazy. Just finally got my monitors sent from Georgia. My dad shipped them to me. So now I have two monitors again. I have my curved monitor. So now I'll be able to start broadcasting a little bit, which is something that I miss. That's one of the. I mean, I love broadcasting. That's one of my favorite things.
Hmm.
So hopefully I can get back into that. But it also helps with the podcast because now I have two screens and I can kind of see what's going on. So uh, glad to have glad to be back kind of to normal, just in a different
For
state.
the most part.
Yeah, just 1,000 miles away from where I'm used to living. But
Yeah.
it's been pretty good so far. Pretty good transition. But so we'll talk about this. Is one question that I kind of talk to, or I ask pretty much everybody on this podcast. Um, and I'm gonna ask you the question, and then I'm gonna go piss, unless you gotta piss, and then we'll just take a break. It's
All
whatever.
right, sounds good. I'll go get a water,
Yeah. All right.
maybe another
Well,
beer. Who knows?
perfect. All right. We'll take like a 2 minute break, and then we'll come back, and I'll ask you the question.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right.
I'm back. I went to go get a glass of water, and I have like the fridge that like will autofill, and it'll cut off when it senses it's enough. It didn't stop sensing, so it just kept on pouring out on me. I had to just like clean up. Like there was so much water all over the floor. Like, oh,
Hell
I
yeah.
hate that stupid shit, man.
All right. So here's a good question. It comes from Mr. Austin Mongold. What's a NASCAR finish that gives you chills no matter how many times you watch it?
All right. I was hoping you'd ask me this one because I prepped an answer for this. So it's the 2007 Daytona 500. Um, so because I'm a little younger, I never watched. I didn't get to see the summer 2001 Daytona race, and I didn't get to see the 2004 500. But the 2007 Daytona 500 was that was the first race that I vividly remember watching. Because I had a birthday party, all my family was there, and I remember watching the race start to finish, and like that finish when Harvick beats Martin to the line and Clint Boyer's sliding across the front stretch upside down. Like I will always watch it. Whenever like I see like on YouTube, I will always just stop and watch it again. It's just one of those finishes that's just ingrained in my memory. Because it's just the first race that I remember watching that like really got me into the sport. And I mean, it's probably one of the best finishes of all time. It's such a good race, such a good finish. So I think it's a good pick for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember watching that race too. I was on the other side. I really wanted Mark Martin to win that race. I'm
Yeah.
a huge Mark Martin fan. I'm a Ford guy through and through, so Mark Martin in that six car, man, he had some of the best paint schemes. Just he was just so close so many times and
Mhm.
just
One of the best to never win it.
yeah, it's just terrible. But yeah, I do remember that race. Clint Boyer upside down on fire across the line. That was
Yeah.
wild. So yeah, that
And
was
great,
definitely
great
a
finish.
great finish for sure.
Hmm.
I would agree. I think probably mine, honestly, was probably last year when Ryan Blaney won the Coke 600. That was, obviously everybody knows I'm a huge Ryan Blaney fan. That's why I run the
Hmm.
12 and everything that I run. Um, to see him, they had been struggling all year pretty much, and then go to the Coke 600 and just dominate that race pretty much and get the win to lock them in. That was pretty cool to see that. So that's probably
That
one
was
of
a
my.
great race too.
It was.
That
It
was a
was.
really good race.
It was a good race all in all, and to have the 12 car win it. I I love any Talladega or Daytona race that Ryan Blaney wins is always a good one too.
Oh, it
But
was a good day. Yeah.
yeah, but that's me and him are a lot alike. Like you can ask Kenzie, my girlfriend. She's like, you act like y'all act exactly the same, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Like we're calm, we're cool, but you put us behind the steering wheel, and
You just start wheeling.
we are a different person. So, unfortunately, he's the NASCAR Cup champion, and I have never won. Well, well, I take that back. I have won 4 championships in ARCS, but not in A squared, and that's the one that matters the most. So maybe we
Hey,
can,
it's knocking. It's
yeah,
knocking.
yeah, we can make it. We'll try and make a run for it this year. We'll see
Hey,
what we
why
can
not?
do.
Why not? What do you got to lose, man?
Yeah, I have made the playoffs all. This is our. Let's see. We had Seth twice. We had Jeremy, and then so this is our fifth season of A squared. First 2 seasons, obviously, were on Xbox. Then we moved to iRacing. Jeremy won the first season. Reynolds won last year. So this is our fifth full-time season in A squared, and I have made the playoffs all 4 years. So we're gonna try and make it 5 for 5 here.
That's a pretty good success rate.
Yeah, we'll
While you're
we'll take it.
while you're on the topic of the Heat 5 and
Hmm.
A squared, anybody who's listening at home or watches this back, if you guys remember the gamer tag RyGuy646, let me know because that's my buddy Riley who got me in this. If he did some stupid shit, I don't know him, but if you had a good race with him, that's my buddy. So I just wanted that full circle moment of running Heat 5. You said you made the playoffs all 4 years. I think he did like a couple races, like, oh yeah, we're in this league. Um, so yeah, that's just a nice full circle moment. But again, if he did something stupid, I don't know him. He's no idea who he is.
Is that the guy that has a really weird last name?
Maricchio, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
All
yeah.
right. As to this day, I roomed with him in college. He's one of my best buddies. To this day, I will still fuck up his name. So if you do too, don't worry about it. I think he even misspells his own name
Yeah.
sometimes.
I do somewhat remember that gamer tag, but I I remember him more from iRacing when he came to OST because
Hmm.
he was fast as shit. Like
Yeah, I know
he was
he's
fucking
really
quick.
fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a big tour mod guy. He's been on for I think a year and a half, closer to 2 years now. But he doesn't run the late model stock as much. Um, and it's a little pride moment for me because I'm faster than him in that thing, faster than him in the late model stock. We have a good race in the super late model, but I think consistently he's a little faster than me in the tour mods. So when he did that Richmond race that for OST Richmond and Myrtle Beach, I was able to beat him both times, and he hasn't been back since. So I'm
Yeah.
calling him out. We'll see
Yeah.
we'll see him again. We'll see him again in OST. I'm gonna go for the three-peat on him.
Yep. There you go. Got called out by your buddy. I don't know if he's watching. Probably not, but he
No, I'll
should
text
be.
him. I'll let him know. I'll let him
Yeah.
know. I'll be like, hey, listen, watch this or
Let,
not, man. I'm
yeah,
letting you
let
know.
him
I'm
let
calling
him
you out,
know.
man.
Watch it back on YouTube or Twitch and tell
Get
him
back
you're
to me. Start
you're
doing laps
calling him
again.
out. Yeah. No, yeah, I remember him being really fast, and I mean
Hmm.
that's one of the things that all leagues struggle with is as you go throughout the season, driver count usually goes down. People, lose interest. People, they're not in the top five. They're not winning, so they kind of just quit or find something else to do, or a new league starts up. I mean, it's so competitive out here. Um, that's something that I've dealt with. I mean, we've luckily we've not sponsored, but we've kind of teamed up with like HTL,
Hmm.
ABN obviously is broadcast pretty much broadcasts all of our events. I mean, they broadcast SNS, A squared. It's just so competitive out there with leagues. I mean, you can go to iRacing and search leagues, and there's just thousands and thousands of
Thousand.
leagues. I mean, it's nuts. But the fact that I don't know. You probably don't know the full story behind ARCS, but we started in 2020 when the pandemic was happening. We started with basically like 10 people that we ran at Talladega on NASCAR Heat 4, and I was like, hey, that was pretty fun. Let's do it again next week. And they, all 9 or 10 people were like, yeah, that'd be great. Let's do it at like 7 p.m. next Sunday. And then I was like, yeah, okay, all right, we'll do it next Sunday at 7 p.m. No problem. And we did, and then we ran like 3 or 4 races, and then I was like, yeah, I'm not keeping points. This isn't serious or anything. And then after like the fourth race, I was like, oh, by the way, I'm keeping points, and here's the point standings right now. So, and everybody was like, oh my God, yeah, this is serious now. Like, and now
We're making it happen.
now we're at 272 drivers in ARCs right now or at least in
Mhm.
our Discord. Obviously a lot of those people don't race on a week to week basis, but you
Mhm.
know, 271 people in a Discord is pretty impressive for a bunch of rednecks trying to, go in circles.
Yeah, and all started on Heat 4 and just bullshitting with a couple guys you met, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that sometimes, man. But yeah, no, that's where it starts. But like honestly, like it's impressive that you guys have like I keep on harping on this. I keep on coming back to this. But like every race I do, there's always people, and there's always people that will like run different things. Like I'll see a couple people that like do dirt, and they'll come in and run the super late models. Or that they'll run OST. They're in A squared. Like everyone just kind of just tries their hand in a little bit of everything. And there will always be guys to run something. Even like the ignition. I missed the Friday race because I didn't know when this was gonna go off. I was gonna do the race at Texas. I knew there was gonna be a few people running that in the 87s. Like, and I think
I
maybe
finished
later in the
second.
season. Did you get second?
I got
Good man. I
second.
did.
Yeah.
I did. I did like 3 laps at Texas. I'm like, you know what, man? I'm gonna suck tonight. I'm gonna
Yeah.
suck. I was um, but like I'll run OST, I'll run Ignition, I'm gonna run the Extreme Tour. I'm really excited for that coming up in March. I'm an A squared, and I might try and dabble in the pro lates with Detour, but that's still 50-50. But there's always people running stuff, and there's always good participation no matter what you do. So that's really
Yep.
impressive.
And SNS is at Daytona tomorrow night. That's gonna be a hell
What do
of
they
a
run?
race.
What is that? Is that ARCA or Gen 4?
They are running Gen 6.
Oh, the
So
Gen 6. That's right.
yeah,
Ooh.
they changed it. They've been the truck series for us for like the past 3 years pretty much.
Hmm.
And this year they Tommy Withers and Tristan Catania, those are the head admins over there. They decided to change it up and change it to a Gen 6 league, and we already actually had our first race last
Hmm.
Saturday at Rockingham. But yeah, this Saturday is Daytona, and that brings out, especially with those Gen 6 cars, man, those things can
Hmm.
push
They
so
haul the
good.
mail.
Oh yeah, those big spoilers on that thing, like I miss those cars a lot. I
Yeah,
really
and they,
do.
they
So
still get up to like 200 miles an hour going
yeah,
into the corner. They'll get
yeah,
loose. They'll get squirrely on
yep.
you, man.
So I'm excited for
Um,
that race tomorrow night. That we'll probably, I mean, as you know, super speedways always draw the crowd. So
mhm. Oh yeah.
we'll probably have 20, 30 people tomorrow night. So yeah, if you're looking for something to do tomorrow night, hey, might be a good practice for Sunday for A
It
squared.
can't hurt. Honestly, consider the boat I'm in right now, it probably couldn't hurt. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, but I'm excited. I read that something was changing over to Gen 6. I didn't know it was Saturday Night Showdown. So I'll definitely have to run one of those races later on this season for sure. I might run it at one of those short tracks, because I'm a sucker for short tracks. That's my gig. That's where I kind of grind my teeth. That's where I cut my teeth growing up here in Connecticut. I'm kind of spoiled for choice between Stafford and Thompson. Work on a SK team, so it's kind of just my element, and it's kind of where I find the most success when I race. So we'll definitely have to turn up for maybe Bristol or something. Could be
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm more of a super speedway guy. I mean, probably I think I have 25 wins in ARCS right now. I would say at least half of those are at super speedways. I don't I'm just I don't know. Maybe I get lucky. I don't know. Maybe it's skill. I don't know.
No,
I
you got that Dale sense. You
yeah.
see the draft. You see the draft.
Yeah, I know where to go. I know where to be, and it works out for me. So hopefully, I have never won the Daytona 500 in ARCS or in A squared. So I'm hoping Sunday will change that. But there's a lot of people. It's going to be tough. But um, we've talked. I've talked to a bunch of other people. This is kind of a new question I haven't asked. I asked Dale last week, but I'm gonna make this kind of a staple question. Two questions. First, who is your favorite person to race around in ARCS? And then second question, who is your least favorite person to race around in ARCS?
Um,
And be
that's a tough
honest with
question.
be
No,
honest with me here.
I'll be honest with
I'm
I'll be
gonna be
honest.
like
So
Theo Vaughn. Be
so
honest with me here.
so like it's tough because I can't really put a finger on either because like I am pretty new. Um, I so my first season that I ran OST, I joined about 3-4 races into the season, and I remember always having a battle with Austin Purnell. Him and I had some of the best races like on of all like honestly some of my favorite races that I've done to this day, officials, leagues hosted. Him and I would always put on a show, so I definitely have to give him a shout out. I haven't seen him in a bit, but hopefully I'll get to run with him again. So probably Purnell is my favorite. Least favorite. um this is tough. This is really tough. Uh so I got a couple. Probably so well, if it worked out, the pass to the grass on Dale would have worked, but because he's not letting me live it down, maybe Dale. um but no, in full honesty, like it's not really someone like it's hard for me to say like someone as a least favorite. Um oh, okay, I got one. All right, so Extreme Tour SK Modifieds at Stafford. I told a couple buddies, hey, let's do it. It's SK's at Stafford, our home track. Let's go run it. And a couple buddies were like, oh yeah, cool. And my buddy Tracy Petter, he showed up and he goes, all right, I'm not gonna queue and I'm still gonna win. And he didn't queue and he won. So that's who it is. That's my least favorite ARCS driver. He showed up one race, kicked my ass on my home track. I'm not letting he's not letting me live this down to this day. So probably him.
I don't
Probably
even
him.
know if he even still in ARCS. I don't even know who that
Oh yeah,
is.
he still pops around on the Discord. He said he'll make an appearance for a couple of the races. Especially in the super late models. That's his gig. He does super lates and tour mods specifically. But he said he'll pop up for the super late models, so he'll probably whoop my ass again.
Yeah.
Dude's an 8K, so what can you do? I mean,
Yeah,
guy's really fast.
Austin Purnell, he actually has a late model in real life, so
Oh.
that's why he had to kind of step back from racing. He was
Hmm.
getting into the swing of things of running his actual car. So yeah, hopefully we'll see Austin, um, later in this season. Um, Not sure what his schedule allows. I mean, all the short tracks are different. They all run on different nights, but
Hmm.
obviously he's got to do a lot of work on his car during the week.
Hmm.
So sometimes he can race, sometimes he can't. But yeah, that Austin Purnell is one of the best that I've probably ever seen as far as it comes to these late models, whether it's super late
Yeah,
models or the stock late model. I mean, he is damn
he's very
bad
quick.
fast. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. And we were lucky last year. He ran A squared with us. This year he opted out. You know, he had too much. I think he's trying to focus a little bit more on his real racing, which I
Hmm.
totally would understand
Yeah,
if I
go
had.
go for it, man. Go
Yeah,
for it.
if
Yeah.
I had a real race car, I probably wouldn't be doing half the shit that I do for ARCS. So
Yeah, but like, all right, deuces, guys. I'm
yeah,
going to race in
see
real
ya.
life.
I'm gonna run a real race car and try and win $200 or whatever they pay out.
Yeah,
So
or maybe enter the 5 grand shows and be like, hey
yeah,
man, hey, I just won 5 grand, guys.
yeah, yeah. I can get some regular Pepsis. I don't have to buy RC colas this week.
I don't have to shop at the dollar menu anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I can get the 4 for $4 over
Yeah,
there
yeah,
from
we're living it
Wendy's.
up. We're living it up. Maybe even go for
Yeah,
Splur to get the $5 biggie bag.
hell yeah. I can get 5 McChickens over there at McDaniel's.
No, he was awesome though. Him and I always had great races. He raced super clean, super respectful. But he was really, really quick, and he always made me earn it. I got him a couple times. He got me a couple times, but nah, he was really, really good, and hopefully I get the chance to run it with him again.
Yeah, hopefully he'll come back, and I'm sure he will. He's one of those guys that he's very loyal, so he'll come back when he can, and you know that he's fast, and he that's the one thing like he loves. You know, he knows he's fast, but he also loves racing people that are fast. So
Hmm.
he's not, you know, some people are like, "Oh, who's this new person? They're cheating. They're fat." No, Austin Purnell will be like, "Yeah,
Like,
come
all right,
on.
let's put on a show.
Yeah, bring it on.
Bring it.
Let's go."
That's
So
a
yeah.
good man right there. That's a good attitude to have. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Austin, if you're hearing this, man, we got to run it back again. We got to run it back.
Yep. That will be fun, especially when it starts back up. ARCS Extreme on Monday nights once we're doing Mazda Mondays. Rick James has put those Mazda Mondays together, and they have been a blast. Uh, I think it ends next week or maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. I have to look at the schedule. There's so much shit going on. I can't keep up half the time. But it's those have been a lot of fun. He started a race at Dover. Then it started at 4 o'clock in the morning. And it's pitch black outside, so all you could see is just the headlights of the Mazda cars. The stream looked just ridiculous. But he had the time on like times 8. So after like 10 minutes into the broadcast, it was like 7 a.m. and the sun was coming up, and it's like this. It's fun.
Imagine living
It's
like next door to the track. You get woken up like, wait, what
yeah.
is going on? Why are there bees outside? Then
Yeah.
you open the window. Are they racing at 4
Yeah. Why
a.m.?
are they racing at 4 o'clock in the morning? Jesus Christ! There's
You
people
just
off
hear
this
cars flying
racetrack.
into the catch fence left, right, and center. Just be like, geez, man, who let these people race on this track, man?
Oh yeah, we did. We had some bad wrecks. I got wrecked out and took a fast repair, and then got wrecked out again, and then I was sitting on pit road for like, went to pit road. I had like 19 minutes of repairs. So
I could still race. We're good.
yeah, I was just sitting there. I was just like in the chat, and I was just sitting there on pit road, and all of a sudden I hear Rick James' voice, which, those of y'all that don't know Rick James, he calls TNT on Thursday nights. An OG, he's been around with us since day one. Great broadcaster. He is the person that got me into broadcasting, hands down. I mean, I asked him one time. This has been 3 or 4 years ago. I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I, call a race with you?" And he was like, "Absolutely, come on, like call a race with me." And I'll never forget. He was giving me tips. He was sending me Discord messages as the race was going on, just like, "Hey man,
Hmm.
don't do this or don't say that. Don't say You say too much." And I'm like, "Well
Hmm.
shit, well
What am I
shit,
supposed to do?
yeah." Like, and now in my head I'm like, oh, I can't say and I'm like I'm like, ah, fuck. Like,
Yeah, but I mean,
that,
but like the more you do it, the more comfortable you get,
yeah, for
and
sure.
it also helps to like commentate on something like, especially with racing, like yeah, the first couple times you do it, you're gonna stutter a bit, but like I feel like once you do more of it, you just get super confident. It's something you like, you love to do, you love to watch, so it probably becomes second nature, I would assume, after a while.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I said, I called my first couple races that I called with him. Oh man, I was nervous. I was like stuttering. Like I was. Oh, it was just. It was. It was rough. And then it was like after 3 or 4 races, I got in a groove, and like
Hmm.
he still to this day calls me the. Like, he was like, dude. He was like, when you broadcast, you need to have 2 beers. He was like, it's perfect. He was like, you got that southern drawl. He was like, you're like the Georgia Larry McReynolds. And I'm like,
Just that
dude,
perfect buzz
yeah.
going,
I'm
just
like, dude,
leveled off, got the liquid
that,
courage
yeah. I
flowing.
was like, that is a perfect, like, that's a compliment. I'll take it.
Hmm.
Thank you, Rick James. But yeah, he got me into it, and then I started broadcasting. I actually broadcasted me and another buddy, Deplorable Me was his gamer tag on Xbox. Terry Gabbard is his name. He used to be an owner. He opened up a pizza shop or something. I don't know. Fuck, he's not around anymore. But anyway,
That's
we
some
actually
weird lore for the guy.
yeah, we actually called a race for a. It wasn't the Pro Series on Xbox, but it was called Leading Edge Pro Series, so it had a
Mhm.
lot of the Pro Series guys in it. Me and DP called that entire season of racing, and we actually had a race at Daytona that we called the finish, and it was a great finish. I mean, it was a just an epic finish on Heat 5. And I wake up the next morning and I have like 15 messages on Discord, and like even like a couple people texted me and they're like, "Dude, check Twitter." And I'm like, "Okay." So I opened my Twitter up and I'm like, "What am I looking for?" And they're like, the NASCAR Heat 5 official Twitter page just retweeted your call of the finish of that race.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I went in there, I looked, and then sure enough, NASCAR Heat 5 official with the blue check mark had retweeted me and my buddy calling the end of this race, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, I'm basically famous now. Like like
That's awesome.
the game the,
Awesome.
the game's over.
Yeah, it's finished.
Yeah, I need to retire right now.
So,
But
like, I couldn't like for me commentating is something like I've always wanted to dabble in, but I kind of found my flow with not necessarily photography. Like iRacing photography, you can do some really cool stuff with, but I found my flow with editing, like stitching stuff together.
yeah.
I made an edit of my buddies doing the Tour Mod SOF night, and I stitched together something. And my buddy who's on EPI, um, he won the race, and I made the edit, I stitched it together, and he's like, "Dude, it's really good." So he sent it to the owner of EPI, and they reposted it on their Facebook, and that got a bunch of hits and a bunch of likes. So I
Oh
totally
yeah.
understand that feeling of, oh man, I got
Yeah.
recognized for doing something cool. It's a really cool feeling. So yeah, that is awesome though.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's crazy. I mean, just this, you know, again, this redneck from Georgia, and I'm calling a race that, I mean, again, there were a lot of pro league drivers in there. I mean,
Hmm.
you know, I Tyler Dohar, Track Bar, all them people that ran, on Heat 5 when there was a professional league. I mean, that's literally
Hmm.
they got paid money to do that shit.
Hmm.
And they came into this other series, Rock NASCAR. For those of y'all that know him, he was a huge part in making that happen. And he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I want you to broadcast this series." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
why not?
yeah, like all these pro drivers, all their friends and family and fans are going to be watching this, absolutely, I'm in. And then to be retweeted by, the official NASCAR Heat 5 page was just still to this day,
Yeah.
it doesn't, it's like, was that real? Like, was I
It's like I
dreaming?
made it. I peaked.
Yeah, I made it as a broadcaster. So,
Yeah.
but I haven't been able to really do a whole lot of broadcasting recently. So now that I have two monitors, hopefully I'll be able to. I was actually going to
Dust off the
broadcast.
cobwebs.
Yeah, I was going to broadcast tonight in Ignition, but my SDK gaming software that I use to, have all the relatives and the fancy, Fox Sports
Hmm.
looking tickers. It had like a hour update because I haven't
Oh.
updated it in like 6 months because it's been that
Hmm.
long. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna close this out. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
just
race.
race it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I finished second. So I was like, well,
Hey, there you go. What
that
goes
worked.
around comes around.
Yeah, that
Full
worked out.
circle.
The the
Having ignition broadcast would be a lot of fun. That'd be really,
yeah,
really cool.
they
That's always
have
that's fun.
low, like we only had 6 people tonight run Ignition,
Hmm.
so we're the 87s are just so hit or miss. Like
Hmm.
some people love them, some people can't stand them. I mean,
I'm not good in them, but I like to drive them.
I
They're
do
they're they're
too. I
fun.
mean,
They mix it. It's a big mix up from what's going on. So I'll just run it and go. I'm not gonna be good,
yeah.
but I'm still gonna have fun doing it anyway.
Well, the only reason I finished second is strategy. I saved fuel, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
still a
probably what I was
second.
gonna do. Like, if I
Yeah,
can't beat a pace for pace, I'm just gonna
yeah.
sit here, just
They're
ride
just,
around and
I
just sip.
mean, those cars are just like most cars you drive. Like they get loose, or at least especially on braking into the corners, they get loose on braking or get loose on exit if you give it too much throttle. Those cars tight, tight, tight.
Hmm.
Like there
Very
is
tight,
there is no loose. You
and they're
cannot get
boat.
yeah, you
They're
cannot get those
boats.
cars loose. And that's just I mean, I'm a dirt driver at heart, so I prefer a car that is a little loose.
Hmm.
So those cars I'm not good at, but hey, it worked out. Strategy worked out
Yeah.
for me tonight, but next week I might broadcast and might have a few beverages beforehand and the
Why not?
booth is always open, so anybody that wants to come and broadcast with me, the booth's open.
All right.
I'm like Fox Sports. Anybody
Anybody's
can
welcome.
anybody's welcome.
I'll just, hey Connor, mid-race report. How you doing? Well, I'm wrecking right now, but oh man.
I actually talked about that. I was gonna if I broadcasted tonight, if my stuff was updated in time, um I was gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna pull y'all like literally mid race. Like you're gonna be coming through 1 and 2, and you're just gonna be moved to the broadcast
Like
booth.
moon car.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey, how's the race going? Well, I'm tight as shit. All right, well, cool.
I got
Well,
I got no tires left. We
yeah,
got 20 laps to go, and I got 6 laps of fuel. But
yeah.
other than that, we're still going.
Other than that, we're golden.
We're still digging.
Yeah.
Top 10. There's only 7 cars. Still top 10.
Hey, I
Uh,
finished second, and there was only 6 cars, but nobody needs to know that there was only six
hey, a win
cars.
is a win. A win is a win.
Yeah, second place is a second place. So. All right, I got one final question here for you, and then I'll open it up to you to see if you have any questions for me. What is one thing? Well, I guess it's kind of a two-part. What is one thing that you feel like ARCS does very well? And again, this is a question I've asked all of my podcast guests, and I will continue to ask just because obviously I'm in charge of ARCS, so
Hmm.
I do like to listen to drivers. This is not as much as Aiden Norman says that it is. It is not a what's that word when what was Hitler fucking dictatorship. This is not sorry.
It's a democracy.
Yeah, it's not. This is a democracy. It's not a dictatorship. What is one thing that you feel like ARCS does? What is the one thing that ARCS does very well, and what's one thing that you feel like ARCS could improve on?
I think you guys do a really good job of organization logistics, especially with Matthew Kent. We've had a lot of conversations about me doing stuff for A Squared, which I don't want to get too much into. I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's going to be some really cool stuff in the works for that. And I think a lot of creativity goes into different ideas for the league, like the bracket challenge and opening it up to sponsorships. Honestly, a really nice thing for me is like how much detail goes into making sure like the rules are really balanced, but they're in detailed. Just like the amount of effort that goes into everything behind the scenes. It's not just setting up a Discord, setting up a league session, and then just letting these guys beat the shit out of each other for 45 minutes. There's a lot of thought, there's a lot of effort, and everything's very meticulated, and it's something that goes a long way, and it really improves not only the product of racing itself, but also everything that goes into the Discord and the community. And that thoroughness is something that is really really important, and a lot of people may not notice it, but like when you're running the races, or when you're kind of getting ready to do a race and you're saying, hey, we got this bracket challenge coming up, you're 22nd in points right now, and you're going to be going against the 11th place guy. You beat him, you're going to keep moving on. Or hey, we updated these rules from last year, we noticed there was a lot of problems with the XYZ. Or hey, we noticed there was some feedback, you wanted tires in this season, or you wanted more fuel. We have accommodated for that. And or if there are any problems from the season before, you're always changing, you're always improving. And you're not just saying, well, this is what we're doing, fuck it, we don't really care. There's a lot of it's something that really is really important, and it's something that kind of adds to the product of not only the racing but the Discord itself. So I'd say that's something that is really good. The one thing that could be improved, I don't know, maybe I'll go talk to Proudfoot, but can we get a midget league? Dirt midget series? Dirt midget series would be fun. Maybe as an off-season one. I would have said a modified series, but that's a really niche series. And I know that really won't get a lot of participation because I ran a modified series before, and it got like 2-3 good races, and the field was like down to 4 or 5 guys, and the champion of the series literally was the only one to show up to the last race. So I know modifieds are pretty niche, but I mean, maybe some dirt midgets. That's really the only thing that I can say can be improved upon, because I mean, you guys are kicking ass right now. It's a lot of fun, and really glad to be part of it. So there's not really much that I can say that can be improved upon. Maybe we can get some dirt midgets. That's all.
Yeah, we did talk actually before this podcast started. I was talking to Proudfoot, and we were discussing the next season of Detour. We were discussing running the 600 if they release them. The 600, I guess, I don't know if they're really
The micros?
classified. Yeah, they're micros. They're not really midgets, but we were going to probably run. Well, we don't know yet. We're just kind of discussing it. But the 600s at pretty much like free dirt tracks and maybe like a couple other dirt tracks. So
Mm-hmm.
I was all on board with the 600s. I think those things they're fun as shit. I mean, I
They're gonna
never.
be free too.
Yeah, exactly. And
They're gonna be free, so that could be huge. That would
yeah,
be a lot of fun. I would definitely run that. I'm excited to try those, and we could do a wing non-wing variation as well.
yep,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah,
So
yeah, that would definitely be a lot of fun. I would for sure run that.
so hopefully we'll get that going next season. Again, it's not set in stone yet, but I
Hmm.
think just the fact that that car is going to be free when they release it, and I mean, I think there's 3 or 4, maybe just 3 free dirt tracks. Um, we may throw a couple in there, that aren't free. At this
Hmm.
point, the ARCS community, most of the people that are interested in dirt, they have, a pretty good amount of dirt
Hmm.
tracks in their library on iRacing. So
Hmm.
we'll see what that entails. But yeah, it's definitely we actually did the ARCS Chili Bowl in the midgets two
I was just
years
gonna say, like,
yeah
having the
two
chili bowl
years
for those
ago.
things would be so much fun.
We didn't do it this year just because again I was in the middle of moving, so
Hmm.
just didn't feel like putting that up. But maybe next year we'll do another ARCS Chili Bowl. And uh, you know the first time we did it, shit man, we had like 75 people show up for for our chili bowl, and we had the whole alphabet soup. I mean, obviously we didn't have 500 people like the real chili bowl, but
75 is that's pretty much
yeah,
an official split for the chili bowl. They cap it at
exactly.
60, so you're doing
Yeah.
better than the officials.
So we did pretty well our first year, and then I think we did it a second year, and we kind of didn't recruit as much. We kind of kept it to in-house, just to ARCS, and it was
Hmm.
not as many people, and it was actually more fun than the first one. The first one, you had people in
Chaos.
there, yeah, you had people in there that were 6K I rating on dirt, and they were just
Running
waxing.
phase.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were just waxing the field, and then you had people that were like me that shouldn't even been fucking out there, and
That's
I
just an interesting
yeah, these seven,
dichotomy on the track.
yeah,
Yeah.
these 6K, 7K dirt racers are just whizzing by me like I'm a fucking golf cart out there.
It
So,
just just like I'm an actual moving traffic cone right
yeah,
now.
like I am just in the way. Get me the hell out of here. So,
Like,
we've
and
we
this is
have
just the E main.
yeah, we have definitely tried that a couple times, but hopefully maybe next year we can bring it back. And we actually, one of my favorite events that we ever ran was we actually ran we ran two events back to back, but the first one was the Prelude to the Dream. We brought back the Prelude to the Dream at Eldora. Everybody was required to run a dirt late model with a NASCAR paint scheme for the Prelude to the Dream. And then the actual Dream, everyone was required to run an actual, dirt late model paint scheme, whether it was, Scott Bloomquist or, you know,
Oh,
whoever. And we ran that. That was so much fun.
yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Pardon me for freaking out there. There was a blowover in the truck race.
Oh man,
Someone went over. Yeah,
I'll have
someone
to
went
go.
over there.
I'll have to go
Yeah,
back
no,
and
I just
watch it.
watched that. I thought he was in the fence. Yeah, I heard you though. That actually, I would love to run that again as well. That sounds like a really fun event, especially if you go back to back with it. That could. Oh man, actually, that sounds like a lot of fun, especially at Eldora too. Eldora and the late models is
Yeah.
just. There's something about it. It's just perfection. I ran dirt late models last week at Eldora, and I ran like 7, 8 races there. It was such a good race. So yeah, if we bring that back, you can count me, and I'll be there for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try and do some special events this year now that I'm settled a little bit in my new place. So, yeah, we'll try and bring that back. We got all the endurance racing going on. I mean, there's so much shit going on in ARCS. It's crazy. It's hard to keep up with, but
So much fun. So much stuff to run.
yeah. But I really do appreciate you coming on, man. We're any questions you have for me or anything you want to say?
Um, Nah, man. I'm just thank you so much for having me on. I'm really glad to be a part of the ARCS community. When I joined, I didn't think I was gonna be as involved. I thought it was just gonna be another thing to run to keep me busy. But it's actually something that I'm um like more involved in than I thought I would be, and especially with what's in the works and what I'm planning on doing this season with A Squared and probably for the Extreme Tour and with OST. Still got to talk to a few people. I'm really excited to do some cool things that are going to be kind of expose the series a little bit more and do some fun stuff for the people that run it. I don't want to spoil it too much, but for what you'll find out probably Tuesday, I'm going to have a big project for Daytona. But it was something that I never pictured I would actually do. So I just want to say thank you for having me on. Thank you for letting me be part of this, and just looking forward to running more races.
Absolutely, man. It was good to meet you virtually, but thank you for coming out and sorry that you had to compete with the truck race.
No worries,
Hey,
no worries. I had a bunch of stuff. I had the tour race going on. I was bouncing back and forth.
yeah. Hey, we're all race car fans at heart, so even though the live viewage may have not been all that great, we still got a lot of people that'll watch it during the week on YouTube and Twitch. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I'll
um,
share it to wherever I can. I got a bunch of people that would probably give it a listen. A bunch of my buddies were like, "Oh, you're going on a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, man, you should definitely check it out." And they said, "Yeah, we'll go check it out for sure." So definitely get a little bit more people to come check it out, come watch it, and hopefully, just maybe, we'll get a couple more people to come run with us.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what we're looking for. Always looking for new people, and again, thank you. Like I said, every time I get on this podcast, I get nervous, especially with people that I don't know, like yourself. And here we are, an hour and 20 minutes in, and you
Yeah, we're
know,
just booling,
yeah,
just chilling out,
just
man,
having
shooting the
a
shit.
having a good time. So
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on tonight. I'll let you exit out of the Discord, and then I'll close it out by myself. But appreciate you, and look forward to seeing you on the track Sunday night.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, see you, bud.
See ya.
All right, that was Connor Knowlton driving the number 2 car on Sunday nights in A squared. Can't get rid of that stupid thing because I don't know, it's stupid. Anyway, that was our 4th episode of ARCS Behind the Driver. Next Friday night, we have Mr. James Kerr, I believe. Can't look at the schedule because I'm on Discord. So I hope it's James Kerr. I looked, can't remember. Who knows? Don't know. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see what this podcast episode does. Obviously, Connor Knowlton, a rookie in ARCS for sure. But thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all next Friday with ARCS Behind the Driver episode 5 with Mr. James Kerr.